Good evening, Your Honor and board members. I'd like to explain my position on our uniform shoulder patch and why I've refused to remove it. Regarding the first somewhat separate concern that the blue line flag violates the flag code. When the patch was designed, the department requested the expert opinion from our local warriors at the VFW post. They assured us that the image on our patch did not violate the U.S. flag code. Reference a symbolism issue raised surrounding our shoulder patch. Towards the end of 2017, before the patch was deployed, the department did much advertising. A press release was distributed. It was explained on all our social media platforms and was published in both local papers. At that time, neither we nor the village received any objection whatsoever from the public. Not until the village decided to honor the police department with its image on a vehicle sticker more than a year later did we receive an objection. It begs the question, if this was such an offensive symbol, why did we not hear about it before then? I would again like to clarify what the image depicted on our patch represent to the men and women of this police department. The meaning of the blue line flag portion of the patch worn on our shoulder is twofold. The blue line represents the line between order and chaos, and the flag is a memorial to police officers killed in the line of duty. That meaning has never changed. And how? Because one hater in Charlottesville demonstration carries such a flag, changes the meaning of the symbol, I will never understand. I've seen many more U.S. flags carried at these demonstrations, and that has never changed the meaning of that flag. How a symbol that represents a memorial to police officers who were killed serving their community can turn into a symbol of hate defies all logic. Keep in mind, this flag is often held by loved ones at their fathers, mothers, sons, daughters' funerals who are police officers killed in the line of duty. To say that this flag is a symbol of hate is a slap in the face to all law enforcement officers and their loved ones that look upon this symbol with reverence. I am sure I could scour the internet, which our objectors have obviously done, and find alternate meanings to many things. The truth of the matter is, the blue line flag was created after a disturbing number of police officers in the U.S. were killed in ambushes, spiked after anti-police demonstrations. These ambushes are rare and until recently almost non-existent. I can tell you there is no greater threat to community police relations than these events. Officers sign up for this career knowing they may be killed by adversarial action. However, ambushes are a whole different story. When police officers are not safe eating their lunch in public or any other event where their guard is down, the ability to trust anyone in the public is lost, and a true us versus them mentality is created. This latest objection to our shoulder patch is somehow related to the riot in our nation's capital months ago. Once again, because a criminal rioter possessed one of these flags along with hundreds of U.S. flags, it is again considered a symbol of hate. The only blue line I saw that day during that riot was the Capitol Police making up that thin blue line between chaos and order. Despite being overrun and understaffed, they held that line the best they could. They were the thin blue line that day. I've been hearing the symbol is divisive. Is it divisive for our branches of service to fly their individual flags? I'm sure one or two have been seen at hate demonstrations. Does that somehow change the meaning of the Marine Corps flag? This argument is at best misguided, and at worst, a sign that those promoting this hateful meaning of the blue line flag have a very negative view of law enforcement. I do not see how one can support their police officers and in the same breath tell them they are tone deaf to this manufactured lie of what this symbol means. What occurred involving George Floyd hundreds of miles away had absolutely nothing to do with this department or its members. Despite this, I, along with former Mayor Jurasek, received numerous emails and Freedom of Information Act requests, some from these same objectors to our shoulder patch, demanding we change our use of force policy and obtain body cameras. I would like everyone in this community to know the Mount Prospect Police Department has received certification from the federal government regarding our use of force policy, and have deployed $190,000 in body cameras to all sworn officers. Despite performing such tangible public safety enhancement, this group of detractors refuses to allow us to say no to this one demand. I ask that you remember this if you feel we have not been receptive or trying to find common ground. Our objectors have made it clear the only thing that will satisfy their demand is the removal of this image that hundreds of thousands of police officers and their supporters hold dear. Please know there is a silent majority out there that feel the same way your police officers do about this image. I cannot tell you how many phone calls I've received from citizens, police officers, chiefs, etc., telling me the importance of finally saying enough is enough to another vilification of American law enforcement. In policing, we operate in the critical world of evidence, which is very important for occupations such as ours. When we operate strictly off evidence, not emotion, not rumor, nor something repeated over and over again on social media, our justice system operates properly. This is where my greatest frustration lies. There is no evidence this is a racist symbol or even co-opted by a hate group. Where? Which group? In fact, there's very good evidence to the contrary. Its image was used in the National Law Enforcement Memorial, D.C. this year on their commemorative coin and badge. It's displayed at this year's conference on concerns of police survivors. The FBI Academy sells Blue Line flag items. The National Law Enforcement Memorial and Museum in D.C. sells shirts with the Blue Line flag image. The young man, Zechariah, featured on our website, carries that flag every time he runs a mile for a fallen officer and folds it up and presents it to the grieving families. Keep in mind he receives corporate support from airlines that fly him across this country at no cost. This flag's been carried at the National Law Enforcement Memorial Run for Badge in D.C., at the U.S. Marshals Memorial Run in downtown Chicago. The Special Olympics Torch Run uses it emblazoned across their T-shirts. Can there be no kinder, worthwhile event we do than support Special Olympics? The state of Montana sells this specialty license plate where the proceeds go to fallen police officers' families. It's no small coincidence that close to a dozen police agencies across this country have copied the design of our shoulder patch and wear it on their uniform. I could go on, but I know everyone in this room sees how mainstream it has become, and not for hate, but for its noble reason. Some will say those groups are just as misinformed as we are. If that's the case, let's ask the experts. The Anti-Defamation League operates a very robust encyclopedia of hate symbols from across the country that anyone can search. They're the gold standard when it comes to hate groups and any symbols they use to identify themselves. I encourage everyone here to go to the Anti-Defamation League's website and use their provided search engine. On this site, the Blue Line flag or any renditions is nowhere to be found. Frankly, pretty much every other symbol is, including the eagle that was on our old shoulder patch, which can apparently be tied to neo-Nazis. Their search engine contains symbols that may have a dual meaning as well, one initially legitimate and the other co-opted into hate, which some are saying has happened to the Blue Line flag. Bottom line, the Blue Line flag is not there even with a co-opted meaning. The ADL is constantly investigating hate groups and their symbols. I encourage those that are so passionate about this hate meaning, contact them, show them your evidence, and if the experts say it is so, we will remove it. Part of my job is to create a positive morale among this community's police officers. Morale is not just important because it makes people happy to come to work. In policing, it creates an environment of something greater than oneself. It nurtures a culture of respect for each other, more importantly, those we serve. Agencies with great morale do not have legitimate excessive use of force claims. They do not have officers look the other way when their fellow officers lose their temper, etc. Instead, they step in, stop their partner, and police themselves. Due to my responsibility in creating such an organizational culture, I have refused to acquiesce to the removal of the shoulder patch. I know it's important to hear opposing views, and I, for one, would fight to give all these citizens that constitutional right. We have done just that repeatedly. I now respectfully request that these same people, instead of looking for an evil meaning, accept what this symbol has always represented, a memorial to fallen police officers. I ask that everyone believe in these police officers who are wearing the shoulder patch and assist us in educating its true noble meaning. Finally, I ask your honor, members of this board, after your careful deliberations, you remember the simple step of a courageous individual is to not partake in the lie. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay. This is where we go to board questions. If you have questions.